Hello, welcome everyone at the Voice of MPE 2025. My name is Bram, I'm a co-founder of PaymentGenes, and today we're going to talk about the importance of sports in the corporate life, in the goal setting, and the impact on health. I've invited my friend Guido Vermeent, former CEO of PaymentGenes. Guido, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Maybe,
Good morning.
Good morning. Maybe you would like to start with a short introduction about yourself.
Yeah, I will. As disclosed, former CEO of PaymentGenes International before, actually until the sell-off to EPI, nowadays to Wero. And nowadays, actually, I'm in several interim assignments for different companies. I just used to finish an assignment for the Digital Euro, for example. Working now for an assignment in G&D, etc. So yeah, I'm having fun in the payments world, I would say. And sports is definitely a very important matter in that setting.
Yeah, no, and the reason why I invited you as well is because we have a same passion for sports and pushing our boundaries a little bit. I also want to talk about you as a professional on an individual level, but also in terms of your leadership role and why you think sport can positively impact your whole team and company, and what kind of responsibility do you have? So maybe can you share a little bit what kind of sports are you into? What kind of things do you like to do?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I really I do a few things actually. So not just one thing. I try to do kickboxing 3 days a week. Try to combine it with most of the time two times a run. And I love to play tennis and padel from time to time. Just started with that, by the way. So I'm a learner. But for me, I would say tennis and padel is more the fun play. And kickboxing is really about training the mind and the body. And the running, actually, for me is a great thing to discover, but also to think over stuff what I will do during the run. In that sense,
I noticed so we're hosting the runs at MPE for quite some years already. I think 5-6 years. We started 9 people. I think this year we're around 50. I received also a lot of messages from people that started and were kind of uncomfortable by starting and not be able to keep up. What advice would you give for people who are starting a kind of a new sport, or how you kind of, they always say it starts with motivation, but the discipline keeps you going.
Yeah.
What kind of advice do you have for people who like to start?
Yeah, I think first of all, try to start. I think that's the first advice. So some people do not make time for sports, I would say. I think a lot of people like to do it, but they don't prioritize it. But I think if you are aware at some point in time how the combination of a physical good health, body and condition versus mindset is, and also working in some circumstances, under some pressure in organizations, handling difficult situations. So for me, the starting point is actually the most important thing. And then, of course, it's great if you can start with something that you like. So if you don't like running, for example, or you believe that's not fitting to your body, you can start with something else. You can go to a gym, but you can also go for a more play sport like tennis, for example, or football or something else. I think that's the first point. So just starting is the advice. And then I think in sports, most of the time, and that's also like in work, I mean, the things that you do for the first time, you're not immediately good at it. It takes time before you are there. For example, I tell people, if you go running again after a while when you didn't do it, the first 3, 4, 5 times, they never feel that good when you stopped with running, for example, a few months ago. And so, and I see that in work as well, right? So if you start doing things, you need to get experience. With the experience, you're getting more smarter in what you do, and you know how to handle that. And that's also what I see, for example, with running. So after 2 or 3 weeks, you really see yourself improving. And probably you will also see that the intensity or the number of runs, if you increase that helps a lot. Starting is one thing. But I would say from a health perspective, if you can do at least 2 or 3 times sport moments per week, I think that gives you in a very good conditional shape, actually.
Yeah, so that will positively impact your mental and physical health. I would say. How does it impact performance in high performing teams, for example?
Yeah, I think that's a good question because I think with sports you learn actually to move barriers, right? I think you do a lot of sport yourself. You told me that you enjoyed and joined some of the high rocks sessions. I think this is clearly an example where you need to push literally barriers in the sense, and in work. That's also many times the case. Some jobs actually they need to maintain and they have more the same rhythm, but you clearly also have jobs where you need to overcome issues, for example, in your work, or you need to set barriers further on because otherwise, and that's what all the companies would like to have is growth. Otherwise, the growth is not going to be facilitated. So I think that parallel, that is clearly what I see. And if you have this sport momentum, you also create your own motivation in that sense to continue and not to give up when things sometimes can go a bit not like you would like to do.
So that has a lot of impact in the resilience and pushing yourself literally and figuratively. What kind of responsibility do you feel a company has on these types of activities for their employees? And do you feel companies nowadays are putting enough effort to maintain that life or create actually that work sport life?
Yeah, well, luckily I think today more and more companies are doing that because I think a lot of companies realize that it's a people's business and it's people's first in that sense. So besides side effects of bonding, stuff like that, you also see that, for example, insurance companies are anticipating on that. Yeah, exactly.
Bonding,
yeah, but you also see that insurance companies are anticipating on that. So what we did when I was back in my days with Peconic International, we provided insurance, for example, with a sports supplement. So people got a Fitbit, and with the sports, they got more often than they could collect points. So with those points, they could, I don't know, get a voucher for something. That could be bol.com voucher, for example, or something else, just as an example. And actually, for many people like that, and I'm not saying that works for everyone. For some people, it doesn't work, or that should be mandatory. But I think it's a very good example that companies nowadays are actually thinking how they could stimulate this physical health actually, because the physical health also helps you, of course, in daily life, but also in continuation in working life. It's also been proven that people are less sick in that sense if you are in a good physical condition. So yeah, I clearly see that there's a good progress. I'm happy to see that more and more companies are paying attention to that and also even organize from time to time own sport facilities, maybe in their own building or outside or with personal trainers in the morning. So happy to see that.
And I like that again. Thanks for this answer. But what you mentioned about bonding, I can also imagine, for example, that when you want to start something, but you feel insecure that you're not good enough, or that you're lacking behind with others. And I really like the bonding part. How can you kind of facilitate that people, step out of their comfort zone? Because that is for some people that, or maybe most people, that's an important topic. So how can you create that culture that everybody feels safe enough to do things that are out of their comfort zone?
Yeah, it's a nice question, and I think also a nice answer because I think you gave the example this week during MPE in the morning. So, and what set the change there, I believe, is that you literally, and I think also in the pre-promotions, you announce, guys, this is not about the speed of the run. It's just about doing it. And as you are bonding already here and networking on an event, I think the barrier is quite low for people to join, and specifically also to let them know that it's not about winning. It's about doing the sports, doing the exercise, enjoy the outside, enjoy conversations with each other. And I think that worked really well, actually. So examples of this, You can also do that in your own company in that sense, right? So you could I see if I drive around in the mornings when I visit a company, many times you see some trainers outside doing some bootcamp training, for example. If you do that, you offer that as an employer. At some point people will make each other enthusiastic actually to join. And just to give it a shot, just to give it a try. I think that helps a lot. But I think the MPE example is a very good one, like you did this week.
No. What kind of thanks and what kind of advice would you give now with what you know now of how the companies are running it, how the insurance look at it as well, but also so the advice you would like to give to an individual, but also to a company leader in that sense?
Yeah, I would say I think for me it's always about people, right? So and in the end it starts, if you talk about leadership, it starts with also leading by example. If you ask me, you need to facilitate. That's very important. But you also need to give, as a management team, for example, in a company, a good example of what you would like to do and how you would set the culture inside a company. And physical sports is very important in that, a very important part. So that means that you need to take initiative and you need to talk to people about that. Try to see if you can take away their barriers, why they're not joining, or just to lower the barrier for them to join.
And also think about inclusion and diversity in that. I think we also had some interesting sessions about people with a disability, for example. How can you include them? I think that's important as well. But sorry for interrupting.
No, that's I fully agree. I think that's an important point. Sports is for everyone in every phase. And in every, I would say, matter of speed or so on. And that's, I think, coming back to the point, starting is probably the most important thing. And then from there on, it's also important that during the starting, it's always helpful when you have somebody next to you to help you, stimulate you at the moments when it's not going so well. Which actually, for me, the role of a team lead, for example, is normally as well, you should do that, facilitate your people to help them. You can do that with sports as well, of course, to bring them over that next level.
Absolutely. Also, I remember when we started PaymentGenes back in the days, we we started with doing boot camps in the winter on 7 in the morning. Well, that was not for everyone, but later on we integrated also kind of more boot camp sessions with the whole team, and that bonded quite well.
Yeah.
And the moment we stopped, it became more kind of an individualistic approach. So I really like creating the team culture in that in that regard.
And what you see nowadays, actually, that's what I see coming by on LinkedIn from some companies. They have all kind of padel tournaments.
Yeah,
because padel.
We have a payments padel tournament coming up in Amsterdam.
I need to join that if it's possible.
Yeah.
But no, I think, and that really works well because padel is typically a sport for me that a lot of people just can do. You can just start with it. You don't have to be pro.
So much fun.
And you have already a nice game in that sense. So which is different if you're going to start with playing tennis.
Yeah.
And I think the padel is a great sport to and that's what you see. It's really being picked up right now.
Do you have kind of an upcoming goal in terms of a sports goal? Like doing a high rocks or anything?
I need to do a high rocks actually. I haven't done that before, so I've seen updates coming by, and you see that on social media coming as well. So I think the atmosphere is really good, but also therefore you need to train, right? And maybe the first time it's not about timing; it's just about doing. But I believe a lot of people that did it the first time want to do it the second time. And then probably the timing is going to be something because you would like to improve. Actually, improve when you are a bit competitive. And I think a lot of people that join High Rocks are also competitive. So you meet a lot of, I would say, like people there, I guess. I think it's a good vibe. And what about you?
I'm planning the marathon in October as well, or the marathon of Amsterdam. So I need to train for that. I have a goal to run below. Well, I have two goals actually, because I had the goal to run below the 3:30.
Okay.
But the last time I did it, I was too focused on that, and I also have the goal to just run and enjoy it, like I did the first time. But aiming of 3:30, but it's becoming less and less important. yeah, so that's what I'm going after.
Sounds like a great plan if you ask me. Cool.
Thanks, Guido, for today. Pleasure talking with you.
Yeah.
And well,
likewise,
let's hope, yeah.
Thank you very much, and have
Let's
a nice
hope
day.
we inspired people to get out more and to start combining the sports. And one piece of advice for myself, which I like as well, is to not do it in the evening. I think you should have the evening for yourself. Try to kind of integrate it during your lunch. Try to maybe do it before you do work, because that has, I think, a positive mindset on the on your activity level during the day. Thank you for listening, and I hope to see you in the run at MPE next year.
Thank you, Bram.